This is it.
Did anything they want.
Joe Sanfilippo was there.
Or you ask the joke and meet the answer or punchline in meeting two. Well, that's something to wait for.
All right, I mean, that's.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll call the June 17th meeting of the Common Council to order. I will ask our clerk to call the roll to determine a quorum.
Alderperson Chaplesky.
Here.
Haas.
Here.
Lysick.
Here.
May.
Here.
Probst.
Here.
Reinke.
Here.
Rote.
Here.
Vitale.
Here.
Weigel.
Here.
Barzak.
Excused.
9 present, 1 excused.
We have a quorum. Alderman Chaplesky will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have 2 items for public hearing this evening. I'll ask the clerk to read public hearing number 1.
A hearing on an ordinance to amend subsections 12.10 sub 2 accessory buildings and 12.10 sub 10 permitted obstructions in required yards of the revised municipal code to amend subsections 12.30 sub 2, 12.31 sub 4, 12.32 sub 4, 12.33 sub 4, 12.34 sub 3, and 12.35 sub 4 of the revised municipal code relative to accessory buildings, and to repeal and recreate section 12.36 RB2 Residence District of the revised municipal code relative to district requirements.
Mr. Stiebel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That was certainly a mouthful to read, and that's the purpose of this public hearing, is we're trying to take our zoning code and begin the process of clarifying it and making it easier to read and to understand for the citizenry. The first part of this, we're going to be talking about RB2, which is a residential district, probably our largest and oldest, and accessory buildings. And then in the future, we'll be holding these before a Safety Development Committee, probably in the fall, or early winter, and start going through all the other residential districts and all the commercial districts and the manufacturing districts as we try to simplify them and codify them so that they're easier for the public to understand. One bigger issue, there's about 2 issues that are significant changes to the code, and this one here is going to be changing the garage height from 15 feet to 18 feet, and we'll talk later whether we want to have a flat roof or a peaked roof, but and then also, and more importantly, we're going to be taking a lot of our narrative that we have that's paragraphs and simplify the language and put it into charts and illustrations so people can more readily understand it. And then we're also going to be taking all the accessory uses out of each individual code, whether it's a RB2 or a multifamily district, and just put them all into the first accessory area so we don't have to amend each individual code up by itself. The other significant issue today is taking a look at setback requirements for buildings. As the city has been buying foreclosed and dilapidated structures and building new buildings and then reselling those buildings, we continually have to go to the Board of Appeals because technically this new house here, although it lines up with all the existing houses, according to our current code, it has to be set back 20 feet. And that's what we want to be able to change, is to give it some flexibility so that it is still consistent with the character of the neighborhood. As you can see, our RB2 residential district is our primary residential neighborhoods in the eastern historic part of the city. As you can see here on a street somewhere around 67th north of Greenfield, there isn't any or very few buildings that actually meet the 20-foot setback. And so to preserve the context of the neighborhood, we want to provide some flexibility in 2 ways. Here's a typical neighborhood where houses are over all the various issues, and that dotted line is where the front of the house would have to be set back to, and that's not going to be consistent with that neighborhood. And so in this case, with this particular formula, they'd have the option of being set forward, or they could still go back to the 20 feet. And in the other area, the same thing where using the formulas, they'll have a choice of either setting it back along the average of all the ones in the district or going up to the 20-foot if that's their choice. We want to let the citizens decide what they want, but not have to put them through, going through the Board of Appeals. The Plan Commission has reviewed these recommendations and has recommended approval. And if you have additional questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Stiebel. Are there questions or comments from the Common Council on this item? Okay, seeing none, are there questions or comments from the audience on this item? Okay, seeing none, we will close our first public hearing, and I will ask the clerk to read public hearing number 2.
A hearing on the 2014 through 2015 Class B Tavern License Application Number 2059 of Chef Paz LLC, Savili Maritza Paz, agent, doing business as Chef Paz for premises located at 9039 West National Avenue, a new license for a non-existing location in regard to exceeding the quota.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I
The
believe
ci-
Go ahead. I was going to call on you again, but you're all good.
The City of West Allis has a municipal quota of 120 Class B intoxicating liquor licenses. Currently, there are 125 Class B liquor licenses granted or issued. Chef Paz LLC holds a Class B beer license and a Class C wine license. Chef Paz filed an application for a new Class B liquor license at 9039 West National Avenue for the license year beginning July 1st, 2014. Pursuant to the West Allis Revised Municipal Code, the Common Council may, by a majority vote, grant or issue new licenses in excess of the quota. The clerk's office received one letter in support of exceeding the quota. Thank you, Mayor Devine.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Are there any questions or comments from the Common Council on this item?
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Weigel?
I don't think I have any questions. I just want to make a couple comments. I've eaten here at Chef Paz on numerous occasions. Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen anybody even having a beer or wine in there, well, even though they've had that license for several years. My mother lives on the other end of the block. Stop down there once in a while. I understand they're a small business trying to make it a go like a lot of other people are, and I think, we haven't had any problems with them serving beer and wine already. I really don't see any problem with adding liquor to this. It's clearly not going to be a pool hall or a, problem. I don't think. It's not my district, but I think it's a great fit. They are a one-of-a-kind business, I think, in the metropolitan area. I know on the times that I've been there, boy, it seems like they really draw a lot of, I see Illinois license plates out on the street occasionally, and it seems like they draw a lot of people with authentic Peruvian cuisine, because there's a lot of people in there not speaking English. I assume it's
Spanish.
Spanish? Not Portuguese. Well,
Not
Brazil
Portuguese,
is,
that's
yeah,
Brazil.
That's Brazil.
That's where the World Cup is.
I support going over quota for this establishment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick?
Chef Paz Restaurant is in the 4th District, and I have eaten there as well, and I have enjoyed a glass of beer there. My wife has enjoyed a glass of wine there, and Chef Paz has absolutely excellent food. Anyone who hasn't tried that restaurant should try it. It's a destination restaurant. It is really, really outstanding Peruvian food, and I had never had Peruvian food prior to going to Chef Paz. It's unique, it's very good, and once you try the yucca fries, you won't want French fries anymore. Thank you.
Thank you, President Lysick. Are there any other questions or comments on this item? Okay, seeing none, are there questions or comments from the audience on this item? Okay, seeing none, we will close public hearing number 2, and we will move on to item E on your agendas, citizen participation. This is an opportunity for residents to address the council on matters of interest to them. We ask that you limit your comments to approximately 5 minutes, and we ask that you state your name and address for our official record.
Good evening, Mayor Devine and members of the Common Council. My name is Brianna Olson. I reside at 2210 South 75th Street. Approximately 1 year ago, I came before you and made you aware of the challenges that Pawn America created in my neighborhood. At that time, I was requesting for your help in creating remedies to those challenges. We worked together, and we asked Pawn America to offer methods to be better neighbors to the surrounding residents. They made several promises and assured you, not the neighbors, but you, that we would see a positive change. Well, I'm here again today to let you know that despite Pawn America's weak efforts and broken promises to be better neighbors, things are actually becoming worse. We are still seeing Pawn America patrons urinate and defecate on public property. We are still seeing Pawn America patrons and Pawn America employees loitering after hours in the parking lot. We are still subjected to the loud arguments and crude language occurring outside the store. And we continue to see several different police municipalities visiting the location multiple times a day. Ultimately, we are living a reduced quality of life as a result of Pawn America's presence, and we are in the process of losing the charming neighborhood we once had. I realize that over the past year, Jacqueline and I have been the two citizens that you have heard speak regarding this issue. But we're not alone in our suffering. Many of our neighbors have been feeling this pain as well. Last week, I went around in my neighborhood and knocked door to door, letting my neighbors know that I share in their concerns with Pawn America and that there actually is hope. We do not have to continue to watch the rapid decline of our neighborhood. We no longer have to be fearful when we take walks with our children or our animals. And we certainly no longer have to put up with the disrespectful behavior that Pawn America patrons continue to demonstrate on a daily basis. I will now ask the West Allis residents that are here, who are in agreement to, we're asking you to deny their pawning license, to raise their hand, please. Thank you. As you can see, there's quite a few concerned residents and business owners that share in my protests of Pawn America. There are many more that could not be here tonight, and I forwarded their letters of discontent to you earlier this week. The good news here is that you've got a lot of concerned citizens who share in the desire to have the thriving community, a community where people want to come and raise their children, a community where businesses want to be. I've witnessed at several Common Council meetings how hard you all are working at trying to make our community better. And I feel like we can't let Pawn America be this business that will take so much from our community and give absolutely nothing back. Not to mention that Pawn America is operating in a location that is not meant for them. On their website, they indicate that they compare themselves to Kohl's department store, to Best Buy. The corner of 76th and Lincoln is not a location for a big box retailer. So why should Pawn America be able to operate there like one? I know many of my neighbors here want to speak tonight, so I won't take much more of your time. However, I want to reiterate that I have been very patient in waiting for Pawn America to deliver on the promises they made in an effort to restore the peace in my neighborhood. I have grown tired of waiting for them to open up a new store to lessen the volume of this one. I am still waiting to see a greater contribution to our community based on the amount of police involvement they need to safely operate their business. I am unimpressed by their choice to make a man that lives in an apartment next door their trash collector and now their security guard. And most importantly, I have grown tired of watching the neighborhood I raise my children in be treated like a public restroom. Please deny Pawn America's pawning license, and if you choose to welcome them in another, if you want to, welcome them to another area in West Allis, because the location that they are currently in does not match their business needs or the needs of the community. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else that wishes to address the council under citizen participation? I also wanted to mention, too, if you could sign in on the clipboard either before or after your comments if you haven't already.
My name is Jacqueline Kirsch, and I live on the 2300 block of South 76th Street. I want to take this time to address the Common Council members again regarding the nuisance that is Pawn America. At the last Common Council meeting, Alderwoman Probst mentioned how important it is for us to clean up the city, to encourage outside investment, and encourage the purchase of the over 80 vacant properties in our community. As a homeowner and a business owner, I'd like to stress how Pawn America is in a residential neighborhood is directly affecting the achievability of that goal. As a homeowner, if I didn't already live next door to the business, it wouldn't take me long to see the problems that occur there, the disturbances, the verbal disputes, the trash on the street, and to deter me from buying one of the several vacant properties that are on my block alone. As a business owner, I can also see why it wouldn't be a smart place to add a business. When you're looking into a business location, it's very important to think about the image that your location is presenting. Without Pawn America, West Allis has a lot to offer. It's centrally located, we're off a freeway, there's a lot of good things going on. But with Pawn America, our residents are afraid to get out of their cars. What does that say to constituents that a business would be bringing in? I wouldn't want my customers to come to my office as close to such a place after witnessing firsthand the constant disturbances that occur at PA. Why would I subject my customers to it? You need to consider, well, where you'll have the most market potential. And if Pawn America wasn't there, it would be a really great place to open a business and to get that outside investment that our city desperately needs to continue growing. Right now, our city officials have been working very hard to improve the image and the quality of life in West Allis, and for that, we thank you. The only downfall right now is Pawn America. It's hurting our potential to attract new positive businesses to the area. For example, the salon next door has lost 70% of their nighttime business because their patrons are afraid to come inside with the disturbances occurring at Pawn America next door. We're crushing our current local business. So I ask and beg you, please do not approve their license for renewal so that we can once again feel safe in our homes.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anybody else? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask that we don't applause because we don't do demonstrations in our council chambers. Thank you. Sorry.
Hi, I'm
Hi.
Pauline Kleinig. I live at 2203 South 74th Street, and I was not prepared to speak. I was going to support my neighbor, and from talking to her more and bringing up more of my concerns, I wanted to share a little bit about me. My parents have lived in that corner home for over 65 years. Way back when that corner store was Gulf Pharmacy. I don't know how many of you remember that. Unfortunately, I moved back from St. Louis to help take care of my father who has Alzheimer's. My parents will not walk with my dad in a wheelchair up in that area for fear. I won't let my teenage daughters walk in that area for fear they're going to be gang raped in the alleyway where people are hanging out, loitering before and after those hours. Not only are they loitering customers, they're also your employees. The same employees last year, when I was in a car accident, or actually approached a car accident in the middle of that intersection, which never has cameras, the cameras that are very much in view from Pawn America that don't ever seem to work when there's an issue there. I was basically assaulted in my car by one of their patrons. Police were called. Instead of concern for me being blocked in this corner intersection with 3 children in my car, the employer came running out. His concern was, she has a taser, you need to arrest her, she doesn't have a permit. I sure do have a taser since I moved back to West Allis, because it sure isn't the West Allis I grew up in. Do I need a permit for that one? No. But if he would have taken a step closer to my car, he would have been tased. That's how much fear I have where I live. Got a big old dent in my hood from that person. Police report, that's about it. And they continue to hang out on that corner. My kids won't walk there. I won't walk there. And I won't have my dad there. 65 years they've lived there, and they're in fear. And that's what I moved back home for. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there other, okay.
My name is Carol Szymanski, and I'm a resident at 2225 South 75th Street, about a half a block down the street from this place here. And I wanted to make a comment, a few of them. I used to live on 16th Street. I owned a really nice duplex there. I lived there for 20 years. And when I saw that neighborhood go down because they were handing out liquor licenses, like they were selling bubble gum licenses, that neighborhood went right down the drain. I had to move out. I moved out here. This was a nice, beautiful neighborhood. I felt safe and secure and that it was a good neighborhood. Since they've moved in, I've had people driving by in back of my garage looking in on it. I'm scared at night when I go, like now it's light out till 8 o'clock at night, but in the winter it's not. It gets dark at 5 o'clock at night. And I have to go look around me because those people are coming through there at 20, 25 miles an hour. And I have to be careful to get in my own garage. And then when I get in my garage, I don't have time to go and take my ignition out and get off and then get out. I have to close my garage door behind me because I'm so afraid somebody's going to come in my garage behind me. Now, other instance, they have their big sales or whatever you want to call it. I took my dog for a little walk around the block. My dog's only a 5-pound dog. I was approached by unsavory characters that were going into that building. I'm going to ask you to be like my little 5-pound dog, to have as much courage as he does. When that lady approached me like this, my little dog jumped out of my cart to defend me, to keep that person away from me. And you are grown men. I hope you, and women, I hope you have the same courage that my little dog has. I think you have more than that in you. To protect and defend our neighborhood, to keep it safe, so that we don't feel like we're going to be molested for an almighty buck. That this store is too big. It does not belong in a small, friendly community that it has placed itself in. So I'm asking you to please defend our neighborhood. Please keep it safe. I don't want to have to move again because my older people failed me. Because you are the stop here. You're the people that make my neighborhood safe. You stop it before the cops come to my door. And I'm asking you to please do your job responsibly. You are responsible people or you wouldn't be sitting here. And I thank you and I respect all of your jobs that you're already doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anybody else?
Hi, my name is Stephanie Botto. I live at 2230 South 76th Street. I'm 6 houses from the pawn shop. My boyfriend's not here with me. We live together. He is out of state for work. We wrote our letter together. We're right. We wrote this letter in regards to Pawn America, located on 76 in Lincoln and West Dallas, and the atmosphere and clientele it brings to the neighborhood. This is a school neighborhood, so there are many children who live in the area as well as elderly couples. This is him talking, sorry. I currently live with my girlfriend who has owned our duplex on 76th Street for roughly 6 years. Our tenant upstairs is a single mom with a young boy who is 6 years old. We share the alleyway with Pawn America. I say share the alleyway because both north and south entrances of the alley act as a highway for Pawn America's parking lot. Pawn America doesn't have their own entrance to the parking lot. The only access to Pawn America is the alley entrance. I can't tell you how many times I have almost been hit either going into or coming out of the alley. The alley that they use as a parking lot entrance is in essence my driveway. I don't feel that I should have to share the alley with a business. The traffic that comes through the alley on repeated occasions does not abide by any speed limit or have any regards for the homeowners who live there. On any normal day, countless cars are going in excess of 20 miles per hour through the alley. First off, this is just plain dangerous. Secondly, there are children present. This in turn escalates the risk of having a very bad accident in the alley. This brings me to my next point, the parking lot. The parking lot on numerous occasions has been so full that the customers will park in non-parking spots. This includes parking in the alley or blocking traffic. What bothers me is when the parking lot overflows, you find people parked in whatever spots they find in the alley, whether it is in the alley itself or on a homeowner's parking slab or even behind a homeowner's garage. Then there are the people who walk to and from the pawn shop that cut through people's yards to get to and from 76th or 75th Street. This is not the workers, this is customers. The last thing I want is someone I don't know walking through my yard while I'm doing yard work. On a few occasions, my girlfriend or I have caught people urinating on someone's garage or alley or going from car to car checking the doors and looking in the windows. They have been confronted and have made up ridiculous stories such as, "I forgot where I parked my car," and quickly hurried off. This has also resulted in our upstairs tenant having her son's slide stolen from our yard, as well as our propane tank from our grill and our plastic lawn chairs. You may say that the pawn shop has nothing to do with this, any of these thefts, but we didn't start having problems until Pawn America moved into our neighborhood. Here is a prime example of what is going on in our neighborhood. This happened on Saturday. I came home the other day and there was a car parked in the middle of the alley in front of my parking slab. While I was trying to figure out what was going on, I realized there was a gentleman, I use that word lightly, peeing on my neighbor's garage right on the garage door. He wasn't shy, he continued even though he saw me waiting to pass. He then got into his car, picked up his what looked to be 2-year-old child, sat her on his lap, and proceeded to move his car onto my slab and wave me by, even though my blinker was on. He then sped forward and stopped in front of my other neighbor's garage, waited till I pulled in, and slowly went reverse past me, giving me a very dirty look in the process. Quite honestly, I was scared to get out of my car because at that point I wasn't sure where the guy went. I waited about 2 minutes and then got out of my car only to see that his car was parked at the pawn shop. As a homeowner, I have nothing good to say about Pawn America. It has brought many problems to our neighborhood. I see no loitering signs all over the parking lot, yet I see all sorts of loitering. I see no parking signs, yet cars are parked in the no parking areas. There are random people in the parking lot when they are not yet open or at wee hours of the night when they are closed. As a business owner myself, I understand that you just want to have a successful business, but I do not feel that a neighborhood is the appropriate location for a pawn shop of the size and high traffic. This is where we live. I don't think that we should have to be worried about things disappearing from our yards or be scared to get out of our cars or come out of our homes. And you may think that this is an overreaction, but it's not nowadays. Nowadays, you don't know who is carrying a gun, knife, bat, or any other kind of weapon. Again, I am a homeowner. When I bought my home over 6 years ago, Pawn America was not there. Had it been, I may not have bought my home. When you own your property, you can't just give notice and move to another place. Think how you would feel if this was where you owned your property. I would like nothing more than to see Pawn America leave our neighborhood. I see no benefit to them being there. All I see and have experienced is problems. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else that wishes to address the council?
Good evening. My name is Darrell Olson, 1943 South 74th Street in West Allis. We've lived there over 30 years. We're about 3 blocks away from Pawn America. If I would walk that way, I would pass Rogers Park. I would pass Jefferson School, where my 3 kids all went to school, and my grandson is going there now. And Golden Girls is right up the road there. I think that Pawn America is not the type of business that is good for our neighborhood right there in West Allis. Been there a long time. It's a real good place to raise a kid. It's not an appropriate business. Fashion Bug out on Highway, that's gone right between Target out there and Piggly Wiggly, that Billy Bob's Boot Corral, that's gone now. Let's put it out there. Those are empty spaces. Let's put it out there. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anybody else that wishes to address the council under citizen participation?
Good evening. My name is Carla Krieger. I live at 2245 South 75th Street, and I was here the last time speaking, and it hasn't gotten better. Like I told you the last time, I don't use the side going on the south end out there is because when the cars are lined up by the hair salon place, they just whip in. I no longer use it unless I know the pawn shop is closed. I'm coming home later at night. And when I come home, I got a light that goes on the side of my garage. I try to leave the light on the side house. I got a big yard light. I try to leave all that on, plus a cell phone in hand, because I'm by myself. I lived 30-plus years in the neighborhood. I raised 2 sons there. Never had a problem. It's not getting any better. And now that I've gone down the other way, I've almost been hit 3 times, and I go very slow because I'm not sure which end they're just going to fly into to come up that thing. I have watched cars speeding. It's not no 20 miles an hour. I think it's 75th Street at 30, 35. It's become a roadway now, so we might as well just do away with the alley because children are playing in the alley. They don't look for them. My fear is one of those kids getting hit or anybody getting hurt out there. It's just uncontrollable. And if you look at the front of the pawn shop there where they have a little wall with their flowers in it, right off their parking lot there, but look at that wall. I don't know how many cars have hit that trying to get out and over. Like I said, they don't use the driveway of the alley. They go right over the curb. Okay, and they don't care how close that car is or whatever. And so nothing's gotten better. I still have a few of them cutting through my yard. I try to I always keep that back gate closed. I hear them walking down, and I got to keep my doors locked all the time now, windows locked. I am that afraid. I am thinking about selling my home. I don't want to, but I am in fear. I just can't. When I moved into that neighborhood, I loved West Allis. I love it with all my heart. It was peaceful. From where I came from, it's a very peaceful city. But now I don't know, because it seems like it's spreading, and it's growing, and it's growing. It's getting out of control. I have seen police presence, yes, going down 75th Street and patrol, and I have seen that. Okay, and I know my neighbor was robbed. He was robbed, and he's a man who's just all to himself. I lived next door to him for 30 years. I never talked to him, nothing, and I know he was robbed. So that brings another fear to me. Is it going to be me next? So I am very much thinking about just selling. I know there's going to be no good area, the way life is today, but with that pawn shop there, it just keeps drawing more and more and more, and the traffic is so heavy on 76th Street. It's unreal. I don't know why the signs, they don't even have the timers on it. All the other streets seems, with the signal lights, have the timers on it. It's just like everybody just jumps into any lane. If they're making a left turn off 76 onto Lincoln, they just make it. They don't care. They just go to the right lane instead of the left lane. They're just coming in and out, like they're the only ones on the road. And that's in and out all day long. So we have a fear, I have the fear of even using my alley. I've had cars parked right behind my garage. I go out and try to get my car out because I got to go somewhere, and there's a car. And a guy's yelling, "I'll be back." Like, no, you get back here. I don't want them to know I'm in fear of them. I know, you need to move your car, I gotta get mine out. Oh, okay, you know, and once he gets in his car, then he whips me the finger and cusses at me. So, I don't have to live like this, because it is a free country. Yes, we all can do what we want, but when we have people that are just doing what they want and giving no privacy to anybody else, or respect to anybody else, or any responsibility. They just think they can do what they want when they want. But the minute you want to do anything, you can't. So I just want to give my version of it, and I appreciate your time for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to take part in citizen participation?
My name is Nathan Bird, 2257 South 75th Street. I am greatly affected by Pawn America, seeing as though my home is directly kitty corner from their parking lot. I'm affected daily by Pawn America, by their patrons, by their staff. On a pretty daily occurrence, if not every other day, almost get hit when I pull into my alleyway. I have come home with cars parked in my parking stall. I have come home with cars parked parallel to their dumpsters. I have to swing my car over that way to pull into my parking stall. I can't do that with a car there. I've come home with delivery trucks parked in front of my parking stall. I have come home with delivery trucks blocking the alleyway. There's no way for me to even get into my home. This is unacceptable. Besides that, I've taken time, money, and effort to put in a security system in my home because I feel unsafe. I moved there 4 years ago because I liked the neighborhood. It was peaceful. Moline Jewelry was there. I knew the business that was there originally. It was quiet, very few people, busy, maybe Fridays. Other than that, Pawn America, every Saturday, every Sunday, I wake up, there are people waiting outside that door, 8 a.m., 9 a.m. They don't even open up that early. At night, patrons stand outside and loiter. The workers stand outside, loiter, talk, laugh, smoke, drink, whatever they do. That's right outside my bedroom window. I can see it. If you want, I'll take pictures. That's fine. I can take pictures of the cars blocking my alleyway. I can take pictures of almost getting hit, being flipped off, being accosted. I've called the cops multiple times. I have had no response from the police before from calling them about people parked in my stall. I have had great response from the police other times when people have parked in my alleyway. I don't feel safe for my wife when she's home alone. I travel a decent amount for my business, and I don't feel safe with my wife home alone. I have talked about getting a weapon for her so that she can feel safer in her own home. We have to lock the doors, we have to lock the windows. This is, in my opinion, unacceptable for a business in West Dallas. It is too large for the corner it is on. It is too large for the building it is in. If they boast that they are a big box store, 76th Street, a little bit farther south where the Pick and Save used to be, where Dots used to be, there's a whole facility open out there. Go by the old Pick and Save building, be the big box store you want to be. But don't be it in West Dallas. Don't be it at that location, at least. I can't tell you how many times I don't even like going outside by myself. I don't know if you noticed or not, I'm not exactly a tiny guy. So why would I be afraid of this? How do you think my wife feels? How do you think I feel about if I want to raise a child in this neighborhood? I don't. We have talked about moving before we have kids. What kind of neighborhood would you want to live in that you feel like you have to move because you want to have children? Doesn't West Dallas boast that they are a family-oriented neighborhood? Doesn't West Dallas boast that they are the city center and that's where they want families to be? How can you be a family if it's not safe? How can you be a family if behind you, directly affecting your everyday life, is a big box store, if you will, of unruly patrons and sometimes unruly employees. I've personally gone over to Pawn America multiple times to give my piece about their parking situation, give my piece about their security. The fact that they have an older gentleman doing their garbage detail at any hour of the morning, for that matter, is unacceptable. I can tell you that 5, 6 a.m., he is out there making a ruckus. Now, like I said, that parking lot is directly behind my home, directly right out my bedroom window. I don't want to be woke up at 5 in the morning because some guy is sweeping their parking lot doing garbage. I don't want to be woken up at 6 in the morning because somebody's outside blaring their music out of their subwoofers waiting for the pawn shop to open. Pawn America is an unacceptable business. It is not right for the neighborhood, and I believe they should be shut down and moved out of the area. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to address the council under citizen participation? Okay, seeing none, we will close our citizen participation portion, and we will move on to item F. On your agendas, our committees will be meeting during recess. The room numbers are listed on your agendas on page 2. Moving on to item G, the mayor's report. I think I'm going to start by asking Alderman Reinke. I assume you're going to go over the 4th of July and Independence Day festivities, so I'll shorten my report. Okay. A couple of things. On June 4th, I attended with representatives of Fire and Police Department the Heroin and Opiate Summit that was held by Milwaukee Common Council President Michael Murphy. And I was there with some members of our police and fire department. It was a regional summit, and it really was eye-opening. It was, there were statistics thrown around that just blew my mind away, and these were elected officials from Ozaukee, Waukesha counties that said people move out there thinking they can escape these problems, and the problems there are just as prevalent as they are in Milwaukee, in West Allis. Some of the numbers they threw out was that OxyContin pills now on the streets are fetching between $70 and $80, and people can get heroin for 10 or 15. Another number that stuck with me was, I believe it was, even if you've been clean from heroin for 15 years, you still have a 25% chance of having a relapse and trying it again. It's obviously very powerful. It was very scary. It was very educational. And I look forward to that being kind of a starting point to addressing one of the problems that is not only facing West Allis, but is also facing the region. On Friday, June 6th, I had the opportunity to speak at Lincoln Elementary School to a couple of classes, 3 classes, talking about careers in public service. And I want to also remind people, I know the 4th of July and the fireworks will be covered, but State Fair Park has decided that they are going to charge what has been traditionally free. They're going to charge $5 now for people to park on the fairgrounds. We're disappointed in that, but that's their choice. Just want to let you know well enough in advance, so if you don't want to pay, you can find alternate parking. And lastly, just a comment about today. About a month ago, in this room, about 19 of us from other cities and villages were signing a mutual aid agreement on how we do our fire service and work across borders. And today was a very good example of why that was so important. As I was driving down National Avenue, I saw a fire at an auto repair shop, and within a short period of time, we also had a car accident with injuries, another fire alarm, a call of power wires down on the ground and arcing, as well as another emergency services ambulance call. So obviously, our 3 stations were stretched very thin. This mutual aid agreement was a perfect example of governments working together, and today we got to receive service from Wauwatosa, Brookfield, and Milwaukee, who offered assistance in responding to all these calls that came in such a short period of time. So I want to not only give kudos to our own fire department, but also publicly thank those other jurisdictions that helped out. And we hope you never need to use mutual aid, but it's inevitable sometimes. So that was a very solid intergovernmental effort this afternoon. That does conclude the mayor's report. Do we have any reports from the alderpersons this evening?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Probst.
This situation that we have, that we're going on with in the second district with Pawn America, you know, yes, it's been brought up that it was a Gulf Pharmacy, and then it was Moline Jewelers and Lincoln Loan. And Scott Moline ran that business for quite a while, and again, no problems. His business plan was very different than the business plan of Pawn America. His jewelry business constituted about 80% of what he did. His pawn business constituted about 20%. So it was a different balance. It has been suggested that photos would help, that by the time you would call the police because of a public urination or a public defecation, by the time an officer would be able to respond, that person is gone. So again, I hesitate to say call the police every time that happens, because we don't have the resources to have somebody go there every time to discover no one's there anymore. I think that's common sense, and I'm pretty sure that the residents understand that. And also, taking your own photos, I think, opens you up to a little bit of risk, and I want to make sure you understand that. We have had a resident of that neighborhood photograph what was going on in the parking lot, only to be threatened, in the face threatened. And that is not something that I know the police are not interested in that happening to our residents. Your safety is very, very important. And I know the police responded very well to that situation, and they were there. But in the meantime, you know, this individual that snapped the photo was threatened to be followed home. They wanted to know where she lived. And that becomes very frightening. And I think our residents, for as angry as you get at this situation, I think ultimately your personal safety is utmost. And to place yourself in any position in which you could be in harm's way, I think is something that no one wants to see you do. Lastly, before I leave, I just want to make sure that everyone is on the same page with the legalities and the laws that we are bound by. You know, our feelings about something are one thing, but we have laws that need to be followed, and something called due process, and it's very important that we follow those things, or we open ourselves up to liability, and no one wants that. There was no special use for this business to come in. This was what was called a permitted use, and they were permitted to be in that operation, in that location, because Scott Moline had that business. We have since closed the loophole. There will never be another business that can come in there of this nature. So this is a situation that we have to give them the opportunity to rectify the problems. We do not have grounds to close them down right now. Okay, that's honest. And I would, you know, we need to make sure that we're all on the same page. So we have to give them an opportunity to fix what's broken. This is awesome that you guys came in to speak for your neighborhood. I am exceptionally proud to represent you. Okay, this is exactly what we want to see in citizen involvement. We are going to be meeting with the owners, the people, the powers that be at Pawn America, and we will put together an action plan. There will be time parameters placed on this. It is only then, if they violate that we can do something legally. Okay? So I want to make sure that everybody understands that. And I'm sorry we can't have open dialogue. I'll meet with you at the recess if you'd like, but...
Question. Can I ask your question?
No, I'm sorry. We can't do that right now. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands the law. It's one thing for us to want something. It's quite another thing to be able to do it. So thank you, Mayor Devine.
Thank you. Just for clarity, we can't have dialogue during this because we could violate the open meetings laws because it's not agendized. So that's why we can't have debate or discussion. No, that was citizen participation. Any other alderpersons' comments?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Weigel?
I'm going to agree with 99% of what Alderperson Probst said here, but I may call the police. I land on the call the police side. When you see something wrong in your neighborhood, call the police. Understand this is not Mayberry RFD. There is not squads sitting at the station waiting for the phone to ring. They're very often out doing important work. And a public urination call doesn't come very high on the scale, but call the police. Get it on the record. We need to establish exactly what's going on there so that we have a better idea of everything that happens in your neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Weigel. Any other reports from the alder people this evening? Alderman Reinke?
Mayor Devine, thank you for being so gracious and allowing me to do my pitch here for the celebration of Independence Day. It soon will be here, believe it or not. And the Celebrations Committee has all the plans in place for our 3-day celebration, which will be utterly fantastic. So you have to all participate in one shape or form. First of all, I have to indicate your newsletter, West Dallas newsletter, will be coming out probably within the next 2 weeks. In the newsletter will be the flyer that designates all the activities that will take place for our celebration. But on the back of the newsletter, on the back of this flyer is also a contest. The contest basically is a challenge, but is easily done by anyone who is proficient with the computer or even with the knowledge up here. So please take time to look and maybe participate in the contest itself, because there's some wonderful prizes for the 2 people that are chosen that have all the answers correct. Now, the first day of our celebration will be July 2nd. July 2nd, the youth judging will take place in our Centennial Plaza, right at City Hall. There, the judging will take place for the coaster wagon contest, the costume contest, and also the bicycle contest that all the children up to 12 years old have decorated. So please take advantage of that with your children. This will take place at 6 o'clock in the evening. At 7 o'clock, our grand parade will commence at 77th Street, all the way down Greenfield to Veterans Park on 70th Street. It'll be a wonderful parade with lots of bands and lots of units, and please come and see our wonderful parade. After the parade, we have a post-parade. The post-parade, initially it'll take place right after the parade ends. The UW band will do a performance for anyone that is at the Veterans Park. It's really a fun time, and the band does a wonderful job. We also have, at the post-parade, we have games, we have food, we have entertainment. It's really a nice family-oriented affair. So please come and take part in that as well. The kids will have a great time. Next, on July 3rd, is our Breakfast of Champions. The Breakfast of Champions is for the entire community. It's not just for who we're honoring, who will be the veterans of West Dallas, and also the scholars, the musicians, and the athletes that have attained state-level championships. And it's for basically the top 10 students of the senior class. So it's a wonderful breakfast. We're having tasty food, we're having patriotic music, and we're having an inspirational message. So please come. The cost is $10, which will go for the celebration, and it's well worth your time and money. On July 4th, we will be at the grandstand. As the mayor has alluded to, there will be a cost this year of parking that the State Fair Park has initiated, unfortunately. But the kids from Wisconsin put on a grand show. It's absolutely marvelous. And please come. That starts at 8 o'clock. And then, obviously, most of you will attend the grandstand celebration because of the fireworks. The spectacular fireworks will take place at 9:30 in the evening. Well worth coming to see both this wonderful show by the kids and also for the spectacular fireworks that take place. So please join all of us at this special Star Spangled Salute to our American heritage and also the patriots that make our liberty possible. Our freedom is important to all Americans. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Ranky, and that's all on the city website as well, correct? If people want to check that, all the information? Yep. Okay, any other reports from the alderpersons this evening?
Mayor Devine,
President Lysick?
I move for approval of the minutes of the Common Council regular meeting of June 3rd, 2014.
Second.
There is a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item J on your agenda is items not referred to committee. I'll ask for a motion to place item 3 on file and refer item number 4 to the city attorney.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Probst, second by Alderman Weigel. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Standing committee reports this evening, we have none.
Mayor Devine,
President Lysick.
I move that we stand in recess until conclusion of the committee meetings.
Second.
There's a motion and a second by Alderman Ranky. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? We are in recess.